Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection is on the air. We're on the air for the next half hour. I'm Kenny Gallagher, along with Jerry Burrow. And Jerry, we have no guests this week. We've run out of guests.
Well, we didn't run out of guests. We're going to have a few back up for the next year already.
Next year?
Yeah, it's just around the corner.
Goodness. Yeah, today.
This is our last show for 2017.
Yeah, we'll see you next year, folks. We have, today's December 18th. We're taping Monday, December 18th. And a lot going on, high school hockey. Let's go back to that East Cloquet game. People have been talking about that since, what was it, was it Tuesday?
It was last Thursday. Last Thursday, but they're talking about two games last week up north here. The Hermantown Duluth Marshall game, and they're talking about the East Cloquet game. So let's start with the East Cloquet game. East goes in, I say they're a big favorite.
Sure.
Going in there. They're deep in that. And Cloquet has a nice team, but they're trying to find their way and get some chemistry, new coach, new systems. And we had Coach Smalley from Cloquet on our show right before that, So it's perfect timing and that. And
well, again, this was a big matchup between two coaches that have played against each other over the years. But the first time that Smalley being at Cloquet for the first time this year.
Right. He's former Duluth Denfield Hunter coach.
And I asked you, when was the last time a Smalley coached Denfeld team beat Duluth East?
And what did I tell you, about 2007?
I thought you said 2013.
No, it was about was it 13 I said? Okay,
12 or 13.
Okay, yeah, because it was a 5-4 game.
Okay.
I remember them losing one. And, good for Denfeld, good for the program and everything, when you beat your crosstown rival and big favorites all the time.
So Cloquet and East match up at the Heritage.
No, it was over in Cloquet.
It was in Cloquet.
It was in Northwood Credit Union Arena. And
how was the crowd?
Good crowd.
Yeah.
On TV, on 2 radio channels.
Is that really TV, though? You've seen that picture.
Yeah, I know.
What's going on with that?
They got to get better picture.
That's 1950s quality.
Right.
Seriously, it's just bad.
I don't know. You got to get HD, right?
No, you got to get something entirely new.
What's the problem then?
Well,
the camera?
It starts from the bottom up. I don't know. But anyways, beyond that. So East and Cloquet, who scored first?
Cloquet scored the first 2 goals.
2-0 Cloquet.
Yeah. East is always, Mike Randolph always has his team, good special team coach and that. This must have been their worst, it had to be their worst game of the year so far because they allowed Cloquet 4 power play goals. And Cloquet was struggling on the power play before that. So, they got something together. They were moving that puck on that power play.
Well, you said something to me, an observation that you made, that you thought that East was a better team 5-on-5.
5-on-5 by far. They outshot them 2-1, even with all the power plays that extra that Cloquet had. But 5-on-5, East was the dominant team. But you got to stay out of the box. But what's ironic about this game is that Cloquet came back after being behind 5-3 in the third period, and they scored 3 goals in the last 10 minutes of that third period. But their 6th goal was 15 seconds left in the game. And so everyone thinks it's over.
Cloquet's up 6-5.
15 seconds left.
Drop the puck, let's go home.
Well, then all of a sudden East got the puck in their zone, offensive zone, and
was it even strength, or did East have an extra attacker?
They put an extra attack right away when it went in the zone.
Sure.
So then there was a whistle, and they had a face-off, and East got the face-off, and somehow the East player got all alone by the front of the net.
Wow.
And he scores with 4 seconds left to tie the game.
Real.
People are just, what?
Now, it went into overtime. They play in overtime.
8-minute overtime. And
in that game, scored. They played 8-minute overtime.
That's what I'm going
We'll get to the other 5-minute overtime game. Okay, so they go to an 8-minute overtime, and was there any big scoring chances on both sides?
Yeah, Cloquet had better chances, but...
Okay. So they played 8 minutes.
Yeah, no one scored.
A 6-6 game and no goals.
Right.
In that 8. Okay.
Okay. So that ended in a tie. So good for the rivalry.
Yeah.
It's going to make it bigger when they come back over in Duluth here in February, first part of February.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay, so we had another overtime game, Hermantown and Marshall.
Yeah.
That was at Hermantown?
No, this is one that's at Marshall.
Okay, I'm 0 for 2
Whatever,
on my
whatever you
arenas.
say, it's just the opposite, okay?
All right. So we go to that game. What happens?
Okay. So, I mean, first period was kind of boring, you know. They're dumping the puck a lot. And
No scoring.
no scoring and hardly any shots on net. But I don't even know if there's... I think there was a scoring. But that doesn't matter. What happened is this game gets to overtime. Pretty even game.
Tied at 3?
3 apiece. So all of a sudden, they put 5 minutes on the board for the overtime period, and we're in this the radio booth at Mars Arena, and we're talking to each other. I says, "Hey, this is not college or pro. This is high school.
It's an 8-minute overtime
Yeah,
period.
And they didn't get it. So one of the guys was going down to the official scorekeeper for the game and texting him, and said that, hey, isn't it supposed to be 8 minutes? And
Yeah.
to talk to the coach or something like that. But no one was getting it, and all of a sudden the game ended, and all of a sudden the players were ready to shake hands, and then they weren't. We thought, oh, they caught it, they're going to go 3 more minutes. But then they just called the end of the game and got in line and shook hands. In the morning paper, you saw that. How did they say that in the paper?
I didn't see it.
Oh, it was in the Duluth News Tribune and right in the front page of the sports. And said overtime, only 5 minutes.
Yeah, so how does that happen?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a state-sanctioned game.
Here's what amazes me.
Don't the
They got 2 refs.
catch it?
Okay, they should have for sure. That's number 1. But then there's the coaches.
Yeah.
There's players.
Yeah.
They've been around this game.
There's press. There's fans. The scorekeeper himself should know. That's upsetting.
It's just crazy.
Wow, how does that happen? Okay, so that game's ended in a 3-3 tie.
Right.
And who's that more of a victory for, Hermantown or Marshall? Or is it just...
I say it's a pretty even game back and forth where the top players were doing the scoring. And they got a chance to play each other in the finals at the Hilltopper Classic because both teams are there. And that's a big tournament on December 27th. It starts up at Mars, and the teams are getting better. They got Wayzata, one of the top 10 teams in AA, playing Cloquet, the first game at 1 o'clock on Wednesday the 27th. Then they got Hermantown versus Roseville at 3:15. Then they got Bemidji versus Brainerd at 5:45. And then Anoka plays Duluth Marshall. So let's say if Hermantown and Marshall can win their first 2 games in this tournament, they would play for the championship, So they're becoming a little rivalry themselves, that Hermantown and Marshall. But the thing is, I don't think Marshall has beaten Hermantown in 10 years now.
Well, I was going to say that Hermantown's had their number for a while, so
I think it's about 10 years.
Yeah, so to come away with a tie can't feel too terrible for Marshall.
Right.
They didn't lose the game. But there will be something happening here December 27th during this Marshall Hilltopper Classic.
Right. They got some good teams, and that's a good turn. If you're not leaving town, I would get either up to Mars, and Duluth Heritage Centers have Essentia Health Center.
At the Heritage.
Heritage.
Yeah.
Is having a tournament too.
All right, UMD Bulldogs, NCHC talk, St. Cloud number 1 atop the NCHC, 22 points, 7-2-1, followed by North Dakota, Denver, Western Michigan, Colorado College, Miami. Hey, where's UMD? Oh, yeah, they're 7th.
Ooh.
At 3-7-0. They're 9 points, so how many points behind 22 is St. Cloud? 13 points. 8-9-2 overall, the Bulldogs. And then Omaha rounds out the top 8 NCHC at 2-6-0 over in NCHA Division 3. Adrian is atop the NCHA 7-1-0 with 14 points, followed by St. Norbert. They're undefeated, 6-0-0. Mm-hmm. Concordia, Lake Forest, Milwaukee School of Engineering 5th. Hey, where's St. Scholastica? They're 6th.
Really?
At 3-4-1 with 7 points. But they had a 4-game winning streak prior to their break. Now, the next game for the Saints, the next home game, is their next game. Wednesday, January 3rd versus Hamlin up at Mars at 7 o'clock. So Wednesday, January 3rd, Saints at Mars, next game for them. And the Bulldogs, they play their next game. When do they play next? They play January. Oh no, they got this tournament coming up, don't they? December 29th, Yale. December 30th, Dartmouth.
They're back east then.
The Leadward. What is that? The Ledyard Classic. What do you know about that?
I have nothing to do with it.
You got nothing on it, huh?
Nope.
Well, Yale, Dartmouth, UMD, and there apparently is another team in there. But UMD will start league play again at Colorado College January 12th and 13th. The Bulldogs will be back home at Amsoil January 19th and 20th. North Dakota comes to town. Going to be breaking some more glass.
So what's UMD's record in the NCHC?
3-7-0.
Okay, it's kind of funny. The pairwise for D1, the pairwise is used for who gets into the 4 regions for the national championship, and they take 16 teams. Well, the pairwise has every NCHC team in the top 20.
Including the Bulldogs.
Yes, they
with
are
3 wins in their
They
league.
are 16, and Omaha's 15.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Oh, something ain't
Because
right there.
because what they're doing is they're looking at their strength of schedule, and they think this NCHC are so strong. When they lose a game, they don't lose too many points. But when they win a game, they gain. So it's a funny thing.
Yeah.
Don't try to understand it right now.
No, I won't.
But just that's good news, though, how strong this league is. And, hey, get out to some of these games because you got some good hockey every
So is
game.
St. Cloud number 1 in pairwise?
Yes, number 1. Denver's number 5 now. Notre Dame moved up to number 2. Then they got 2 Eastern
North
teams.
Dakota.
North Dakota is up at 7. But Minnesota State, Mankato, 6.
Wow.
Yeah, they're playing real good hockey.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the Gophers are 9. But I'm saying Duluth, UMD is 16. Omaha's 15. And Miami of Ohio is tied with Colorado College at 18. So, yeah, every team. Western Michigan's even at 10. So, strong league.
You know, it's really something to look at this the standings in the NCHC and see Colorado College and Miami ahead of Duluth, with Duluth sitting at 7th.
Yeah. And you know, if you don't, the top 4 teams get the home in the first round of their playoffs before they go to the, what do they call it, the frozen face-off.
Yeah.
It's going to be at the XL this year. So
Good.
UMD has to start playing better and start winning some games if they want to be at home that first round. Otherwise, they're traveling. They're at least taking a bus.
You know, back, 20-plus years ago, whenever it was, they moved the state tournament over to the Target Center because the XL was being built.
You're right.
Were you at any of those games?
Yep,
Did
all
you
of them.
attend?
99 and 2000.
What do you recall from it? What do you take out of that? Was the attendance up?
Oh, it was full.
Yeah.
It was full. The thing I got out of it most was in '99 was that Rosal moved up from Class A to Double A that year. Because they couldn't beat Warroad, because Warroad had good teams, and they're both in Class A, and they couldn't get the state tournament. Here they move up, they get to the tournament, and they win it.
That's great.
In Class Double A.
Well, I never knew that was the way
Yeah.
that went.
Yeah. And then in 2000, ESA won their first 2 games at state, and they were in the championship game against Blaine. But they were bumped up. They played Edina and Rosal, which were not Rosal, but they played 2 good teams in 2000. And but they were so bumped up, injuries, little small injuries and that, and playing 3 games in a row. They didn't have any gas in them. And Blaine, second half of their high school season that year, were just flying. and they had 2 pro players on that team, Hendricks and what's his name, Brzezinski. But they both went pro, and Hendricks is still playing almost 20 years.
That long.
So, yeah.
You know, it's funny because there was a deal on Fox Sports North about the state tournament, and it was one of the coaches, I think, and he said that, you know, it was just different playing over in Minneapolis during that time as opposed to being at St. Paul. He says, because when you left the arena, you knew you weren't in St. Paul because you couldn't smell garlic coming from Casetas.
Jeez.
And I thought, okay, well, that's, but, yeah, okay. What else you got?
Well, I got some local news on Joey Anderson. I guess he's going to be the captain of the USA World Junior Championship.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be played out in Buffalo and that. And there's a chance there'll be cuts at the end of the week. They're going to cut about 5 players. And there's 4 other UMD players still trying out for the team. His brother Mickey, Scotty Perinovich. Let's see, who else is on the team? Perinovich, and then the Hermantown defenseman, Ryan, is it Ryan Sandberg?
Yeah.
And then there's one more. Who's the last one?
Or is it Dylan?
No. It's not Dylan.
Hmm.
But that's Sandberg. And one more. God, I can't even think. But there'll be 5 of them, and hopefully they all can make the team. And one more thing. The 3rd Duluth East player that's playing in the pros this year, Andy Relinski, was called up, former UMD Duluth East player.
Sure.
And he was doing real good in the minors for the Anaheim Ducks farm team. And first 2 games, he's got 2 assists already.
That's great. I love hearing that stuff.
Yeah. So that's a nice thing. Then we go to the Wild. Whew.
Well, okay, before we get there, I wanted to ask you about Anderson. Mike, is it Mikey Anderson going or Joey?
Both of them.
Okay.
Mikey's still trying.
Okay, Joey's been named captain.
Yeah, so that means he's on the team no matter what.
Is he a draft pick?
Yes.
Who owns his rights?
He was New Jersey, got him in the 3rd round, 73rd pick overall.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, New Jersey, where did they come from? They're like 3rd in the East.
I know, from playing so bad last year.
My goodness.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good. That's good news.
Minnesota Wild, 2 losses in a row. They lost to Chicago Sunday night in Chicago, 4-1. Chicago outshot them 46-28. And
Yeah.
Minnesota was just taking so many penalties.
They looked the same way on Saturday afternoon.
You know, this team is hot and cold more than they should be.
Well, I think right now their biggest problem, it's not so much the goaltending, it's the forwards. They're not scoring.
Well, exactly.
No forwards, and if they
Right.
are, it's only like 1 or 2 or 3 of them. You're not getting anything for sure out of the 3rd and 4th line.
Yeah.
And now they're not getting anything out of any line.
Yeah.
So it's hard to win when you don't get scoring from any of your forwards.
So that's something they need to do is they need to find the scoring touch.
But they're still above 500, but
Yeah.
they're winning all these overtime games this year
Yeah.
and shootouts now.
Minnesota is currently in 6th in the Western Conference Central Division. 33 games in. They're 17, 13, and 3. 37 points. They're behind Dallas, Chicago, Winnipeg, St. Louis, and Nashville is atop the Central in the Western Conference. Wild are 9th in the Western Conference, all teams included. But Tampa Bay, 1st in the East.
Yeah.
What's Tommy Curver's got cooking down there?
Yeah, they're playing pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
They got some players on that team, though.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's funny. They were, 2004 Stanley Cup entries against, who were they up against? I don't recall, but I think that, anyways, and then they were.
when they won it?
Yeah, when did they win it?
Oh, boy, I don't even know what year, but I think it was against Calgary.
It was. You're right. It was Calgary. Yeah, Jerome McGinley was denied a Stanley Cup. Yeah. And that was, I believe, the year after the strike season. But they've been a good team for a while.
Right. Well,
Are they still building around Stamkos?
Yep, they got him. They gave him a big contract after he was out last year, and he's doing his job. And they got this Russian kid that's scoring out of his. He has 23 goals. This Russian kid.
Yeah.
So he's top of the league there. Hey, we got a Minnesota boy that's rookie out at Vancouver, and he's top in the rookies in scoring. Brock Besser.
Oh, sure.
Burnsville boy, played at North Dakota.
Yeah.
And now everyone, you go to the Wild game, and people, Minnesota fans that know high school hockey are saying, why did we get this Eriksson Ek? When Besser scoring.
You know, back in the day when we picked Brian Lawton, a high schooler from Rhode Island, you know where the other two picks were after Brian Lawton? Steve Yzerman and Pat LaFontaine.
I'll take them. I'll take the 2 and 3.
Ain't that something? We
Yeah.
went out to a high school in Rhode Island
Yeah.
and got Brian Lawton, and he played in the NHL for a few years, but
Right.
he just wasn't. He
Right.
wasn't up to the same level as an Yzerman or a Pat LaFontaine. But
I think the only one that I would say the two Finlanders, Granlund, Koivu, and then the Russian Mario Gabrick are probably the biggest draft picks the Wild have ever had. That
oh sure,
You know,
yeah, I don't. You're right.
turned out all right,
Right.
but outside of that,
Yeah.
I think their drafting has been way below average.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of teams you can look at, you know, what happens in the draft. I don't know if teams build through the draft as much as they do through free agency, but you're right. Especially their first round picks.
Yeah.
And the fact that Brett Burns is no longer with this team.
Right.
He was a great pick. And
That's
he was a
right.
first rounder.
He got so much better after he left Minnesota.
Yeah,
Did
that
he
was
mature?
a player that we should have never let go.
I think they used him better out there. They let him pinch all the
Yeah.
time more. And I mean, he pinched here and that, but boy, that guy, he's amazing still.
He is, and but he's got to cut the beard. The beard is getting old.
Yeah, he's hiding a couple snakes in there, you know.
I see. So we got Minnesota Wild. We got boys high school hockey. College hockey's resting right now during the break. Over in women's hockey, Wisconsin atop the WCHA, followed by Minnesota, Ohio State, Bemidji, and then UMD sits at 5th in the women's WCHA, 5-8-1, and women. You know, it's funny because they had such a promising start of the season, and they were in some really close games, but 5 wins, 8 losses. They got to turn it around quick.
Right. Well, we'll see. I mean, at UMD, that's going to be funny too, though. The UMD ladies start playing good and they make the playoffs. I mean, get the first round at home. That's going to shuffle the times for the boys semifinals now again.
Yeah, we talked about that.
So that'll change, and we don't know if it's going to be nighttime
Yeah.
or if it's going to be weird. So
Well, we don't have to wait. We have to wait until next year for that.
yes,
Yeah.
2018.
That's right.
But talking about high school hockey again, let's get back to the rankings.
Now, is this
I've
the
seen
first
them.
week of rankings?
No, I put rankings up.
We've
a
had
couple
guests,
times.
so you haven't been able to talk about it.
Right.
Aha.
But here's my rankings as of this weekend. And I was at the Edina Classic, which had Edina, Eden Prairie, Grand Rapids, and Elk River. And some of the games, like first night, Edina 11, Grand Rapids 0.
Huh?
Yeah. Grand Rapids, their 3 key players, all left for juniors, are the national development team.
Yeah.
So that hurt them a lot.
And
And
their
it
goalie went
shows.
to UMD. My goodness.
And he's going to come to UMD, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. But then Elk River won 5-4 in overtime over Eden Prairie, which was a good game, everyone said. I was up here for the Cloquet Duluth East game. But on Friday, then Eden Prairie was 6, Grand Rapids 0.
Whoa.
Grand Rapids still can't score.
Now, if you recall, Trent Klatt did officially retire, and Chris Marinucci took over as
Right.
head coach.
Right.
Is that not working well, or is it just the fact
They
that
just don't have numbers and they
Yeah.
don't have the talent.
All right.
2 things. The talent all left early.
Jeez.
And then second game, it was Edina's worst game of the year, but they still scored 10 goals, 10-7 over Elk River.
Wow, what a game.
Yep. And then the next night, Edina 7, Eden Prairie 1, and Elk River 5, Grand Rapids 1. So Rapids in 3 games scores 1 goal. Edina scores 28 goals in the 3 games. And over the
Edina scores how many goals in the 3 games?
28. but their first 4 games they've scored. These are top teams. I mean, 2 of them 7-0 over Holy Family in the top 10, 6-2 over Maple Grove, 8-3 over St. Louis Park, and 8-0 over Roseville. So they're scoring 8 goals a game. And let me say this before I go my rankings. Edina, by far, is the best team in the state right now. By far.
So I'm going to say you got them number 1 in the rankings.
Yeah, I did.
Class double.
Ever since before the season started, and still now. But
true.
But at one time I thought there's not much difference between the top 5, but there is.
Okay, so give us the top rankings in Class AA.
Okay, Edina with the 7-0 record, number 1. Minnetonka, which just beat my number 2 team from last week, Moorhead, 4-1 on Saturday night. They're number 2, and their record is 6-0 and 1 tie. Duluth East, I'm just keeping them at 3. Now, I'm not moving them up. I'm not moving them down.
All right.
But they're 3-0-2.
Okay.
And this week, I tell you, get out to the Heritage Center. Tuesday night, Centennial, the number 5 team in the state. Thursday night, the Frenzy. We got Denfield and Superior, I think it's 5:15 game. And then East plays Duluth Marshall. This is going to be a full house because of that. It's going to be on TV, but get out there early if you want a parking spot. Number 4, St. Thomas Academy with a record of 5-1. Number 5, Centennial, 5-0 and 1 tie. Moorhead, 6-2. Number 6, White Bear Lake, one of the best first lines in the state, has a record of 5-0 and 2 ties. And then Cretan's back. So they're playing real good hockey, and they play Edina this week, so that'll be interesting to see.
That's a football and basketball school.
Yeah. But they won the state tournament with McDonough that plays for the New York Rangers.
Isn't that something?
Yep. So
when was that?
About 2007.
Okay, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
In that area.
Okay.
Holy Family Catholics, 5-2-1, and then Wayzata, 3-2-1.
Trojans.
Yeah, and teams to watch, we got a whole bunch. Andover, Blaine, Chaska, Cloquet, Duluth Marshall, Egan, Eastview, Eden Prairie, Elk River, Hill Murray, Lakeville North, Lakeville South, Maple Grove, Stillwater, St. Michael, Albertville. Oh, I forgot to. Bemidji and Brainerd.
Chair, we're down to the final minute.
All right. Well, get out to some tournaments. You got the Schwann Cup down at Ritter for the gold, and up at the Super Rink for the silver, bronze, and open. We got the Duluth Heritage Center up here. It's having their tournament. And then the Hilltopper tournament has some really good teams that are coming up from the cities. And we got Hermantown and Cloquet with Duluth Marshall.
And that Hilltopper tournament starts Wednesday, the 27th.
Yes. 3 days. They're all 3-day tournaments.
All right. Well, there it is, our final show of the year. We'll be back next year to drop the puck. We'll see you then.
Okay. See you at the rink.